In this RTFSC, I want to take you through how I implemented payment in my new video course, Flux on Rails. All right, first, let's go through how this thing works. I'll show you how the payment method works so that you know what we're dealing with here. All right, so today, if you go to beautifulruby.com, you'll get redirected to /flex, and you'll see this hero page. If you scroll down, you'll see an excellent picture of me. And finally, you'll see all the videos. And these are the things that people are going to be paying for. Whenever you buy this, you actually get all the videos, so I don't have to have like a shopping cart or anything crazy like that. In fact, I don't want that. I want this to be insanely easy. So let's click on a video. There is like a 30-second preview. I'll show you how to do video in another video, but for now we want to focus on payments. So let's click on purchase course. And when we do that, you'll notice that you just get redirected to a Stripe checkout page. Different domain. I actually like Stripe checkout pages a lot. Stripe has thought through way more things than I have, way more edge cases. If I tried to host this on my own website, it would not look nearly as good. I would not have nearly as many payment options. And for some reason, I just think it's much easier and faster to go through here. I like Apple Pay. I just click on that and then I can buy it with my watch. And after that flow, it would redirect you back to the Beautiful Ruby website and the video would be unlocked. So that's the gist of it. I just have one Stripe price that I'm dealing with here. So it's a very simple flow. I don't need a ton. And that's why I created this gem called NoCheckout. And NoCheckout is really just a thing that you're throwing into a controller. So you have one payments controller and you give it a price. You can load the price however you want. You'll see how you do that in the page. And then whenever you go to the new URL in this thing, it actually redirects you to Stripe checkout. You give it your payment session and then you come back to show, even if you have failed or if it's succeeded. So this is where you can get that information from the Stripe checkout and configure whatever it is that you need in your database, and it's off to the races. In my case, I activate the videos. All right, so NoCheckout, I would say, is actually in stark contrast to the PayGem. Chris Oliver has built this very, very comprehensive PayGem. You can see it even supports multiple payment processors. There's webhooks and there's all sorts of things. I know there's also some database stuff in there. All that stuff I didn't need. I just needed a quick way to spin up a Stripe checkout page because I'm only selling a handful of products. So that's why I ended up with NoCheckout. And let's go ahead and jump into my implementation though for beautifulruby.com. The first thing that I want to show is the URL for this thing. So how do we get to this payments path? So we'll copy the link, paste it up here. You'll notice that the URL, it's not going straight to Stripe. I actually have a payments controller in my application. So if we crack that open, it looks like this. So I do have inline views. That's how I roll. It's not for everybody. I get it. But the thing that I do is I have to build up a Stripe checkout section down here, a Stripe checkout session. So this is where, whenever you hit new, this is where I configure everything. So I'm saying, all right, I want to create a new Stripe checkout session. It's payment mode, customer. I always want to create that. That creates the customer record on Stripe. I have a success URL, a cancel URL, a customer email, which is a current person email. I have a minimum quantity, which you can see I load in here. So there's all this configuration that you do for a Stripe checkout session. And this is actually documented by Stripe. So I build this thing up and then you end up getting a URL out of this thing, which I'll just bundle show NoCheckout, bundle open. All right, so Stripe checkout session controller. Actually, it's a concern. So this is the underlying implementation. You can see new redirects that checkout session that we create here, and it just calls URL on it. Allow other hosts, that's because it's sending us to the Stripe checkout page. So we do that. We hit that endpoint. Let me load up localhost here. Purchase, buy that thing. All right, so this is what the checkout page looks like. You can see we can use Apple Pay and all that good stuff. We'll see if this works. I've been having trouble with Apple Pay working in the sandbox. Yeah, it's not gonna work today, but whenever that redirects, or actually if I go back, I can hit show and you'll see here, I'm hitting the show URL with the checkout session key. And I do a couple of things here. Like if somebody needs help processing the payment, it opens up an email. Hey, I'm having trouble. This uses Supermail, which is another gem, and it gives me the ID. That way I can troubleshoot it quickly. You can open the payment link and try again. So if we look at what that view looks like here, show, you can see that we retrieve the payment. We give it the checkout session. This is a construct I have in my database. I'm actually selling seats. So that's like the one thing that I'm dealing with on my side. That's why I don't need anything fancy like the PageM. And then I check here, like, okay, there's a payment that comes out of this thing for the seat. Is it paid? Okay, if it's paid, then I'm going to create seats. So if we look at payment, we can see that there's some business logic here where it creates seats and to make sure that I don't create more seats. So if you order 3 of these things and make sure that it's creating 3 additional seats for you. That's it. This is kind of the integration between my database and Stripe. All right. So if we go back to, if it's not paid, this is the view that was showed, right? Unpaid. And we can see we have a support email here at the checkout session. And that's pretty much all I'm doing. Like it's a very simple controller. Oh, I should show where I get the price from this thing, because that is the important thing that you need for all this to work. This thing here called price. So if we look at def price, you can see I have this method here called course page, and it gets a Stripe ID. So if we follow course page, this is hitting site press, and I'll just see where this comes from. So I'm going to cover this in another video where I show how you use SitePress to host all this stuff. But you can see in my Flex course page, I have a few different prices here. I have a pre-order price, a launch price, and all that stuff. So right now I'm in launch. So if you access these prices, it's going to cost $329. Actually, in November, the price of the course goes up to $379. So if you want to pay $329, go ahead and go to beautifulruby.com and check out now so you can get that. I'll probably create new prices for this at $379 and throw that in here. And then I'll change the price from launch to full, and then the price will go up. So this is how I manage all of my Stripe prices. Again, it's not in a database. I don't need all that. I'm not really selling that many items. If I add more courses in the future, I'm just going to add the price to that course, and then I'll probably run it through the same controller. I'll load the course ID, so I get the course page, and then I say, hey, give me the Stripe price ID off of that. I guess I'll just show kind of where that comes from. Stripe price ID. So you can see we pull from that page Stripe key, and then we say, give me the Rails environment. So if it's development, I get the sandbox price. If it's production, I get the production price. So there we go. That's how the prices are loaded up and given to this controller. It creates a Stripe checkout session. This is all stuff that's in Stripe's documentation, so check that out. And then I redirect the person to the Stripe checkout flow. Whenever all that stuff works, assuming like I didn't hit cancel, you can see that the payment status will be paid. And then I say, all right, let's create the seats. So if you order 3 of those things, I create 3 seats. I have this thing in my authorization called a pre-activation. So that's like, hey, this person with this email is going to log in. That way, whenever you're ready to take the course, that your email's already filled in, so you don't have to worry about that. You still have to activate your browser, but that's going to be for a different video. And you can see here if you have a bunch of seats, I want to set you to account courses path. So if you buy, say, 5 seats for everybody in your team, you would see all of them. If you just have 1 course, then you're taken straight to that course so that you can activate it yourself. I'm assuming here that you're buying it for yourself. But that's pretty much it. Oh, and then of course I send a payment email and then I redirect to the URL. So it's all in one controller, and I can see all of my payment logic here and how I process it. I could do this in webhooks, I know that, but this is, again, like small scale. I don't need to process tons of stuff right now, or high volumes, I should say. But if you want to see it in action, go to beautifulruby.com, hit purchase, and you can kind of trigger that flow. Again, the gem is at Ruby Monolith, github.com/Ruby Monolith/NoCheckout. And that's a pretty easy and straightforward way to implement a checkout. If you're not selling a bunch of different items, you want something a little bit lighter weight than a PageM, and you don't have to like create a bunch of database records to manage all that. Have a good one.